of the hit show, The Officer Tatum. Please welcome Brandon Tatum, a.k.a. The Officer Tatum, to the Stephen A. Smith Show. What's up, big time? How are you, man? Nice to finally meet you. How's everything?
I'm blessed, man. God is good, man, and I'm really excited to talk to you.
Man, please, the pleasure is all mine, man. Even though, listen, there have been times when you've been critical of me. It's okay. I can take it. Damn it, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. It's no big deal, right?
Why, is that game only on Xbox? I thought that game ain't only on Xbox.
Physically. I mean, I just pointed out that you're a football player, former football player, police officer, but yet you got some fools out there that be trying you physically. I could understand if they came at me. What the hell are they thinking about coming at you?
Oh, man, you know, Stephen A., really, to be honest, in public, people never say anything to me. You know, a couple non-binaries on the campus of UC Davis decided to lose their mind, which I bet they will never do that again. However, most people, when they see me in person, they realize I'm 6'2", 280. They don't want nothing to do with me.
I would imagine so. I would imagine so. Let me get to a more civilized situation right now, because obviously you heard me a little bit earlier talking about D.L. Hughley. And before I ask you about him, I wanted to make sure you heard exactly what he had to say in the aftermath of Saquon Barkley, the star running back for the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, electing to go to the White House, and what D.L. Hughley had to say about him or anybody else who happens to be black that would think about going to the White House. Listen to D.L. Hughley talking on TMZ earlier. Check this out.
14 players said, I'm going to boycott this. Whose side are you on?
I think that it's not just political. What Donald Trump has done and is doing to Black history is unsavory, and
it like, I agree. This shit is more than political. It's like, I don't. If Ron DeSantis was the president, I wouldn't blame you for going. Normalizing Trump is a problem at this point. He's not normal. Nothing about him is normal. Nothing about him is presidential. So this whole respect the office bullshit ain't got nothing to. If a motherfucking murderer was in the office, I respect the office. No, like you like that respect the office bullshit don't fly with me, because for one, Trump doesn't respect the office. So giving him respect isn't respecting the office. You're respecting him who disrespects the office. He's not presidential. He's not respectable. So I don't even get, like he said, and what they're solely, I'm not saying all black people need to feel and think the same. But when you're actively doing things to diminish black accomplishment and diminish black people as a whole, for you to put yourself in a position to endorse it is kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of, I'm not saying you gotta feel how every black person feels on all things, but as a black person, to see somebody actively trying to diminish black accomplishments, that's crazy.
Undeniable. Donald Trump is deliberately trying to erase Black people's history for whatever quest. He's elevating Christopher Columbus again. So he deliberately is doing things to Black people that isn't just political. And any black man that does it is going to obviously catch some level of heat. When a black person does it, I can when it's a black person, I can always tell what kind of black person. I can always tell what they are.
Whoa, wait, what does that mean, DL?
Saquon Barkley, he had a girlfriend and threw around the N-word a lot and said she wasn't a gold digger and she wasn't messing with no broke N-words. He looks like that kind of guy that is indifferent to what black people go through. It's just true. And I think I've noticed that to be consistent with a lot of black people who show up. They have a shoe booty affect to them.
You heard what D.L. Hughley had to say right there. You are a Republican. You have been on the record. You are a supporter of Donald Trump. You heard what D.L. Hughley had to say. Your thoughts?
First of all, D.L. Hughley has been historically one of my favorite comedians. I love D.L. Hughley, but I don't know what he done. I don't know, he bumped his head or something, but he has lost his mind. And it's a shame that he has to go down the path of racism. You know, I've met Donald Trump several times.
Trump has been taking down black photos and black accomplishments all through the government. What do you mean?
I've been to the White House several times. Actually, Donald Trump met my dad at a UFC fight not too long ago, and my dad didn't even vote for Trump. So Donald Trump isn't what they're projecting him to be, but also the racism that exists amongst black people. Why is D.L. Hughley, who claimed to be a pro-black man, hating and talking down on another brother? Just because
I don't know. You hold people accountable for doing fuck shit. What the fuck is this? Are you arguing that you're not supposed to say anything when people are doing something you don't find respectable or they should do? Are you saying that just let Saquon Barkley be because it's black? No, I think that if you care about black people, you call out black people that do some fuck shit. That don't make no sense. If my kid doing something wrong, I'm not finna be like, that's my child, so fuck it. They can just do it. I love them. That's my child. Do whatever. I want the best out of you, so don't do no fuck shit. What are you talking about?
because you decide to love a woman that happen to not be black don't mean you're a sellout and you don't understand the black struggle. And Saquon Barkley, who's a
Did he even say you a sellout and don't know the black struggle? He just said, I know what kind of black you are. He didn't say you're a sellout and you didn't struggle. What the fuck is he talking about?
rational adult who wants to play football and enjoy his life and don't have to have a problem with Donald Trump because everybody said he does. I mean, he went and golfed with Donald Trump. He was flying on a, Marine One with Donald Trump. What's the problem with that? Unless you're a racist and you hate white people, you shouldn't have.
You're making it about hating white people. The problem is Trump. It's not about white people. This nigga just not even addressing what DL said because he knows that it's not a unreasonable take. Even if you disagree with DL, he's not unreasonable. You're a black man that's like kicking it with Donald Trump, who has actively been removing black history. I don't even argue that Trump is racist. I feel like it's low-hanging fruit and is not the easiest thing to prove. So I don't say Trump is a racist. But this shit, he is actively removing black history within the government. He's trying to make it so black people, he's damn near was arguing that black people can't get a position unless it's because they're black with the whole DEI narrative. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about white people. It's about Trump.
Have a problem with a brother loving a white person or a brother supporting a president
He's
just
so
for the
off the
sake of him
topic.
being the commander in chief. And
So
D.L.
off
Hughley just
topic.
he bothers me so much because
He's off
I
topic.
just don't like what he says about black people, generally speaking. But I can go on forever about it.
What did you think about what he had to say as it pertained to Trump and the administration essentially trying to
You
eradicate
talking about DL?
black history?
Dow?
Basically, in the administration essentially trying to eradicate black history.
Yeah.
Basically,
getting
whatever
rid of black
initiatives,
history.
executive orders, there's a lot of things that we can point to that people have believed that's what he was doing. What do you make of that and what Trump has done since he's been in office?
I think it's absolutely asinine to suggest that Donald Trump is trying to erase black history. That's the craziest thing ever. D.L. Hughley don't have any evidence whatsoever to make a claim like that, other than
Was he not? They took the Tuskegee Airmen out of the training videos. They took the pictures of not Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman down. What do you mean? He is. They're trying. They don't want them to teach black history in schools and shit like that. What are you saying?
having Trump derangement syndrome. Donald Trump in his first term, he gave permanent funding to HBCUs. Donald Trump literally had every HBCU president in the Oval Office talking to them about things that they can do to improve.
This is why I say I don't think Trump is racist, because people could point to stuff like this and say it. To me, it doesn't matter if Trump is racist or not. What he's doing is racist. He don't have to be one, but he's taking racist X. If my whole life y'all see me kick it with white people and I never ever said anything, well, first of all, Trump has actually verbally out his mouth said disparaging things about black people, like saying they're lazy. He said that out his mouth. But if y'all never out my mouth heard me say anything bad about black people, I kicked it with them, I done worked with them and all that shit, then I get in a position of power and then I'll be like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna hire any white people. I'm not gonna hire any white people. You know, all the things that white people have accomplished. Let's take all the white presidents' pictures down out the Oval Office. Just put up all the black senators and congressmen we had. Yeah, I don't want any white pictures in here. What's the thought? It ain't about what I've done in the past if I'm racist or not. That isn't race. That in itself feels racist. You know what I'm saying? So you be drunk Friday, you off Friday, and this time of day Friday?
Improve black universities. Donald Trump, the operations zones, I mean, you can go down the list and all the things that he's done.
Oh yeah, he don't
that
read
help
shit.
black.
They was in there explaining to him the executive orders he was signing.
Black community, the people that's been a part of his administration. Is Byron Donalds a sellout? Is Clarence Thomas a sellout? I mean, all of these other
Some people
that
would
are
say
very
Clarence Thomas,
successful-
though. Officer Tatum, some people would say that about Clarence Thomas. They do feel like Clarence Thomas has been one of those individuals.
Yeah, then I forgot about that. You got rid of a 4-star general, Secretary of Defense for Pete Hegseth. Wait, no. Wait, Red Dragon. Are them two different positions? I thought he got rid of a 4-star general for a 3-star general. But no, you're right. I do feel like dude was Secretary of Defense. You're right. I thought I saw a 4-star with a 3-star, or is Pete a 3-star? But you're right. He got rid of the man, and it feels like it was because he was black. That's what it feels like. Of course, it wasn't explicitly stated, but it feels like it was because he was black.
That has no interest in pushing forth black causes at all. That has been said about him for decades. Long before Donald Trump came along.
And it's because of black people who inherently are in their consciousness are racist individuals because they don't like Clarence Thomas because he got a white woman. But let me tell you this. I bet you $1 million you won't see D.L. Hughley talking about Bubba Wallace, the NASCAR driver that did the fake hoax with the noose. You'll never hear him talk about him because he's willing to say all this activist stuff that he's not really believing in. But
First, wait, what do you mean he's not believing in activist stuff? Why the fuck would he care about a NASCAR driver versus the president of the United States that's fucking disadvantaging people, black people? Why the fuck do you think that's comparable to a NASCAR driver? Why in the hell would I care about a NASCAR driver versus the president? This stupid ass comparison.
He got a white woman. So D.L. Hughley is.
Why are you talking about who got a white woman? Oh, well, no. To be fair, he's bringing that up because Saquon date white women. But he's talking about Saquon's interaction with the president. Bubba Wallace dating a white woman is not comparable to Saquon Barkley dating a white woman on top of being buddy-buddy with Trump.
Inconsistent with his projection against black people. I'll just say this. Black people cannot exist in America isolating themselves in a cocoon with other black people who, to be honest, hate on them more than white people do. And D.L. Hughley is a perfect example of it. Why won't you uplift your brothers? Why won't you celebrate the brothers that got invited to the White House that won the Super Bowl? Why wouldn't you? Because you just don't.
Because Trump has been actively trying to take black people out of American history. Why are you not acknowledging that? You're just ignoring it. You say he don't have any evidence, and then you brought up all shit Trump did in his first term, ignoring the fact that he said black people are racist, ignoring the fact that he's been sued for discriminating against black people to buy his properties or patronize his properties or whatever. Why are you ignoring that? To just talk about giving money to HBCUs in his first term, which is something Obama did. And he probably felt like if he didn't do it, there would be much more backlash on him.
Don't like Donald Trump. And I guarantee you'll never hear D.L. Hughley say anything negative about Donald Trump before he became a Republican president. That's why I don't have no respect for these dudes. And then I'll tell you this, Stephen A., they don't never talk about the thugs in our community. They never talk about the problems. I mean, consistently talk about the ailments that are in our community, talk about abortions that go on in our community higher than anywhere else in the country. They don't talk about the murder rate in our community that's higher than anywhere else in the country. They don't talk about the education system that has failed black people. They don't talk about these politicians that put illegal aliens before they put black people. Look at Brandon Johnson in Chicago. Billions of dollars spent on illegal aliens, won't spend a dime on black folks. Look at Barack.
That's not even true. That's not fucking true.
Obama. He came from Chicago. Can't name me not one policy that benefited black folks.
I don't ever look for a president to just benefit a single race. Like, I hate when they say this. I didn't expect Obama to be president and be like, I'm finna help black people only. That shit don't look good as a president. You're supposed to look out for the country, not a race. I don't agree with that shit. Don't be a president and then target a race. You could target poor people. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. The reason that HBCUs get funding is because A, they're newer, and B, we have a fucking different history than PWIs. That it makes sense. You're trying to give people a leg up that they need, which is the same idea behind giving poor people a leg up that they need to survive, to make it. You know what I'm saying? Black colleges don't get the funding that PWIs get. So yes, they need help to survive. They're a benefit to the country. Yes, poor people need a leg up to survive because without them, this country wouldn't run the same. This is stupid. AJ, I don't think every black person that has a difference of opinion isn't a sellout. And there's only certain people that say that sellout shit is like a low-hanging fruit, saying black people that disagree is a sellout. I don't agree. I don't even agree that Brandon Tatum is a sellout. I just think he's misinformed, and that's what I think. The sellout shit is low-hanging fruit, and to me that's a narrative that's starting to like get old. I don't like when people, because when you call black people a sellout that disagree, it just takes away all of the valid arguments that you could have against what they're saying. It's like a cop out to a better conversation. I don't like the easy way out of a conversation. I don't do the low hanging fruit to, oh, you're a sellout. And then all the black people that see it, they be like, oh yeah, he's a sellout. Fuck everything you got to say. No, I'm going to dismantle how you feel based off everything besides your race. Like the reason I disagree with Officer Tatum isn't because he's black. It's because he believes the same shit white people believe. But the reason black people call these people sellouts is because as being a black person, you should understand even more why you shouldn't be spewing the shit you spewing. You know what I'm saying? I think when you're black, this is another reason on top of the other that you shouldn't even spend this shit because you're being targeted. You know what I'm saying? But no, I don't like calling black people a sellout or a coon off rip. Because it just defeats. It's so many other arguments you can make for why you disagree versus their race.
Especially not in Chicago. So D.L. Hughley won't talk about these brothers.
But yeah, I don't agree that a president shouldn't get in and be like, I'm going to help black people. I think that's a bad look. That's not a winning strategy. I don't think that's a good idea.
That benefited black folks, especially not in Chicago. So D.L. Hughley won't talk about these brothers. They won't talk about these hoodwinking snake oil salesmen that are acting like they're activists. For instance, Reverend Al Sharpton. These people are the most disingenuous individuals I've ever seen in my life. They can go on a boycott of Target, not realizing that there's black people that got product in Target. So why would you boycott Target and in the black communities where black people work at the Target? How about we stop wasting energy being victims and start supporting black people? Have a march to support black businesses, where we spend our money in black businesses, where we put our money in black banks, where we send our kids to black universities. Stephen A., you know why you'll never see them do that? Because they wouldn't dare put their money in a black bank. They wouldn't dare send their kids to black universities. And D.L. Hughley and the rest.
Is that, but I don't know if you're talking about what you saying the rest. I don't know. You're saying that's a very broad generalization he's making. I don't know if it's I mean, yeah, there's some people that don't do these things. Some black people decided to take their stuff out of Target. Some of them kept it and they told their supporters to only buy their product out of Target. So it all depends. Those same black people could put their stuff in black stores, but it's very difficult. It's complicated. But he's putting generalizations on DL when I don't think he knows any of this information. I don't think he knows any of this, and you're trying to put it on DL. And again, this is about normalizing an evil president. This isn't about white people. I don't think DL's gripe is solely because he's white. You know what? I know it's not, because if like I said, if DeSantis won, I don't think DL would have this take. Everybody's issue with Trump is because he's Trump. It's not the issue of him being white. The issue is that Trump, if he was Hispanic and if he was black, if this person was black and went to the White House and tried to take black people out of history, it would be problematic. It would be a problem. The problem is trying to erase black people out of history, trying to put black people at a more disadvantageous position. It's not about white people.
Won't dare live in a black neighborhood. Ask Stephen A. where he live at. I guarantee you, we look it up. He live around number of white folks.
Wait, do y'all realize he just said ask Stephen A. where he live at? I wonder if Steve gonna respond.
Ask Stephen A. where he live at. I guarantee.
He said, ask Stephen A. where he live at.
And D.L. Hughley and the rest of them won't dare live in a black neighborhood. Ask Stephen A. where he live at. I guarantee you, we look it up. He live around number of white folks. Mm-hmm. So this is why I don't believe these people and why they're detrimental to black people in America.
I got to take a break to pay a bill. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more in just a second. What I would challenge you on, Officer Tatum, and I respect the hell out of you and where you're coming from. I don't agree with everything you said, but let me say this. A lot of the litany of things that you labeled in terms of problems that exist in our community, problems that exist in our country, you're absolutely right on point. I'm not here to challenge that at all. I love the last part that you made about how they were so focused on immigration, they were so focused on woke culture and cancel culture that they forgot about black folks along the way, the folks on the left. I totally agree with you about that. I've been decrying that for the longest time. And when I think about D.L. Hughley, I've said this before you came on the show today. I'm like, listen, you can't sit up there and talk mess about somebody, all right, and then expect them to do business with you. You've got to be willing to compromise. You got to be willing to cross the aisle, figuratively speaking, in his case, because he's not a politician. You got to be willing to work. You can't be about denigrating the president for every damn thing. Like there isn't a single thing that he says that he doesn't do right. Everything he says isn't wrong. Everything he says isn't off kilter. Some things he said he does have a point about. There's no question about that. I push back on you when you try to lay, like somebody like a D.L. Hughley, when he pointed out how Trump challenged his nationality, citizenship, whether he was born in the United States or not. But let's not forget that. When we point to issues, when we talk about how, what have they done for us or what hasn't been done for us, when we see a guy like Clarence Thomas and others, you speak against affirmative action, but you benefited from affirmative action. When we hear Trump come into office and literally a plane collides with a helicopter and he's blaming DEI with no evidence whatsoever, and they're questioning the meritocracy of something or the merits of something, and all of those kind of things are taking place, we do find ourselves, and I think D.L. Hughley is absolutely entitled to find himself uncomfortable with some of the things that he is seeing. You see, he might have gone too far by saying what he said. I think he did. Anybody that goes to the White House, anybody that communicates with Trump, I think that's beyond the pale. But him being skeptical, him questioning some things, I don't think that's off filter, Officer Tatum. I don't.
Well, Stephen A., if his skepticism was genuine, I agree. My father has skepticism of
Why do you think it's not genuine?
Donald Trump and things that are genuine. My dad is a good man. He's acting in good faith, and he don't hate white people.
But how do you know it's not genuine?
I think he has a big issue, and he hate white people deep down in his soul.
See, this is pissing me off. You keep making it about white people. I will say, I think there's a world where you could argue DL might have a problem with white people. But I don't think the problem is Trump is different. I think Trump supersedes white. If this person was Hispanic and doing the same shit, I think DL will have a problem. This ain't about being white. You're literally making this about white people when Trump is different than white people. Trump is not the same problem that black people have with white folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop it.
And that's why everything white people do, he has a criticism. When white people get in a shooting against black people, he has a criticism. I guarantee you, I haven't seen his take on the kid in Dallas that stabbed a young man in the heart. I guarantee he took the side of the black man. Let's go back to the.
Why do you know that? You don't know that. I don't know either. But you said I guarantee. Don't bring it up if you don't fucking know.
Birther thing. The birther is argument about the validity of Barack Obama's birth certificate started with Hillary Clinton. And there was a whole bunch of other politicians outside of Donald Trump. Donald Trump piggybacked off of things that people had already established.
I don't think that's true. I looked that up.
D.L. Hughley, I mean, we can go down a list of all the other things that you said. His skepticism of policy. What policy is he referring to that Donald Trump is doing that's against black people? Last time I checked, building the economy helps build black people's pocketbook. Last time I checked, when you're talking about immigration and getting all these illegal aliens.
Yeah, but if black people are already disadvantaged, and then Trump comes and tanks the economy, where does that put black people, you fucking moron?
Out of our country spending taxpayer dollar, black people pay taxes. That helps and benefits the black community. When you think about Clarence Thomas, this is a black man who worked his way up and decided that we do not need affirmative action because it discriminates against all people. It discriminates against black people because there are black people who are qualified that are not necessarily associated with this affirmative action thing. You know, they may have a family, they come from a good family, a good household, and they're not associated with getting a handout because their parents did the work and their parents put them in a position. So
let's just prove how this nigga's full of shit. This he's so full of shit. So this is what I just read. According to Politico, rumors Obama was not born in Hawaii began when Obama's popularity proved a threat to Hillary Clinton, Politico wrote. The theory first emerged in the spring of 2008. There's no evidence that Clinton herself or members of her campaign staff were involved in the effort. The earliest known appearance of the notion on the conservative blogger website was March 2008, and it was not about his birth, but it was about dual citizenship or split loyalties. In April that year, some supporters of Hillary circulated anonymous chain emails repeating the same rumor. Among them was an Iowa campaign volunteer who was fired when the story emerged. These and numerous other chain emails during the subsequent presidential election circulated false rumors about Obama's origin, religion, and birth certificate. So, to be fair, he didn't say Hillary started it or her campaign, but he said it started around her. That has nothing to do with fucking Trump being the real purporter and the real catalyst as to the birtherism stuff with Obama. And the way he said it started around Hillary, as if Hillary said the shit when there's no proof of it. All it said was when he was a threat to her campaign, that's when the rumor surfaced, but there's no proof of Hillary actually being the reason that it happened. But when he said that, he was trying to make it seem as if Hillary's campaign or Hillary's people was the reason that the birtherism shit started. No, Trump is the reason that shit became mainstream.
Were they not considered lower income or people who benefit from affirmative action? But also, it's time for us to move forward. We can't keep living in the past, Stephen A. I mean, my God, I just saw a movie that came out called Sinners. I haven't watched it, but the preview of the movie and some of the dialogue around the movie is another movie projecting black people in the 1930s, and it's the white man against the black man. When are we going to stop this mess? You know,
and people, this is the, hey, I think I wanted to. If maybe tomorrow, I think I want to watch Stevie's review of Sinners and his reaction to his comments from Sinners on stream, because this is the same shit. That movie the premise was not about white versus black. The story isn't like bad white people bad, black people good. That wasn't what the fucking it was telling a story and using vampires as a metaphor of what happened to black people. It wasn't to indict them on its face. But y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all don't care. Y'all just see white versus black, and it's like, oh, this is victimhood. Oh, this is racism. Oh, this is divisiveness. Like
30s, and it's the white man against the black man. When are we gonna stop this mess?
He didn't watch it? Wait a minute. He said he didn't watch the movie?
But also,
I missed that.
And they're not associated with getting a handout because their parents did the work, and their parents put them in a position where they're not considered lower income or people who benefit from affirmative action. But also, it's time for us to move forward. We can't keep living in the past, Stephen A. I mean, my God, I just saw a movie that came out called Sinners. I haven't watched it, but the preview of the movie.
I just saw a movie that came out called Sinners. I didn't watch it. What the fuck?
Stephen A. I mean, my God, I just saw a movie that came out called Sinners. I haven't watched it, but the preview of the movie and some of the dialogue around the movie is another movie projecting black people in the 1930s. And it's the white man against the black man. When are we going to stop this mess?
You didn't. Why are you talking about a movie you didn't see? I'm sorry. I know I missed it. Why are you talking about a movie you didn't see? Shut the fuck up. You don't have to speak. If you don't know something, don't talk about it. If you bring it up in passing, it's not a point to make in an argument. Like, I bring up shit that I don't know about, but I don't pretend to present the information as if it's like, yeah, this gonna further prove my point. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is fucking ridiculous. Bring it up in passing. Don't bring it up to further your narrative, because you don't even know what you're talking about. A lot of people saw the previews of this movie and was like, I didn't know what to expect going into it. And you're bringing it up to prove a point about white versus black. You don't even know what the fuck the movie's about. Fucking retard.
You know, the Underground Railroad's proliferation and success didn't come from just black people. There were good white people who never owned slaves, who never had nothing to do with slavery, who risked their lives to help Harriet Tubman get black people to freedom. In the history of this country, there has always been good white people that have done positive things to affect change that benefited black.
See, I feel like I don't have a problem with giving white people credit where it's due, but it's hard when it comes from a nigga like this because you're avoiding the real conversation to praise white people. I can acknowledge that all white people ain't bad. I don't feel that all white people was bad. I don't feel like all white people at all points of times was bad. But you over here ignoring the fact that Trump is a different type of evil. This ain't about being white. This is about Trump, my nigga, and you're not acknowledging that whatsoever. He said he has a problem with Saquon going to kick it with Trump. Why are you talking about white people? You're making this more about race. And yes, he brought up the part about I knew what kind of black Saquon was, blah, blah, blah. He's harping on that because it's easier to discuss. Keep that in mind. If it was easy to discuss Trump, he would talk about it. He's only talking about the part where he said, I know the type of black he is because he dated white women, blah, blah, blah. That's because that's easier to attack. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that there's a lot of black people, including DL, that harp on race a little bit too much, that people like this can ignore the real argument and not address what's really trying to be the conversation that we're trying to have. So he's dodging the real argument to talk about you're just focused on race. Like,
black people. Now, there have been racists. There have been knuckleheads. But generally speaking, in the totality of circumstances,
that's why I don't like. That's why I hate bringing up
no
race when it's not self-evident and it's not the strongest argument. Don't bring race into it because it gives people a scapegoat to ignore the real issue.
Nowhere else on planet Earth, black people can go and benefit and prosper and have a level of success.
He's not even talking about Trump.
America. And there's so many corporations and so many lenders and investors that are white that have propelled black people to a level of success that we've never seen before. I mean, Stephen A., your contract is very handsome. And I don't think that they're treating you improperly because you're black. It's because you earned it. No, it's because you went years of being consistent, right, speaking your mind, taking the heat, and then you get paid.
My response to that would be, that's true. I'm very, very fortunate. But I went through a lot before I got to this point. And it took me significantly longer to achieve what others who look differently than me
I knew he was
might
gonna
have
say that. It
captured
took me
sooner.
longer.
But I do
I knew
get
he
your
was gonna say
point
that.
because I don't sit there and look back and I don't view every white person as racist and I don't view every policy as racist. A matter of fact, one of the reasons I've never felt that way about Donald Trump in terms of racism, Nazis, and all of this other stuff is because I knew him before he ran for office. And I knew a whole bunch of us that knew him before he ran for office. And we never said that stuff about him. Neither did Obama.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. I think they also didn't know about a lot of stuff he did. But again, even with the stuff he did during the past, calling him racist is fruitless, and it gets you away from the actual issues at hand. I don't care about calling him racist. I don't care if you think he is or isn't. That's not my biggest issue with Trump. So it's irrelevant whether you think he's racist or not. But I'm upset. I'm not gonna be able to finish this video.
Bro, neither did a whole bunch of other people. There was a whole bunch of people communicating with Donald Trump, befriending Donald Trump, socializing with Donald Trump, and we never had any problem. So I view him as somebody that's catering to a constituency because he knew he wasn't going to win the left. He wasn't going to win the Democratic nomination because that was going to Hillary Rodham Clinton. They would have made sure he didn't win that. So he went the other side, and he, being a businessman, is willing to negotiate his way through anything. That's how I view him, but that's just me. I want to get to you in this regard, Officer Tatum. You talked about your dad and how he didn't vote for Donald Trump. Are you a lifelong Republican, or are you somebody that was a Democrat that transitioned to being a Republican because of the things that you've articulated since you've been sitting on the show?
That's a great question. You know, in America, and I say this is unfortunate in part, that when you black, you come out a Democrat. Because when I was young, we didn't even vote. We weren't even deep.
I don't even agree with that. I think it's more about your class is what you identify as than what you come out as. I think that's more about your class than your race.
Politics. But it
just so happened that more black people are at disadvantage, so more of them become Democrats.
If you were going to vote, you voted for a Democrat because
That's
the
true.
Democrat was for the black people and the Republicans were racist white people. That's what it was.
That's true.
And then when I grew up, I started being more informed and started looking at policy positions as a Christian man. I say, well, wait a minute. I don't think I agree with nothing that the Democrats are doing. I don't think I agree with any of it. I believe in God. I believe putting God first. I believe in marriages between a man and a woman. I mean, you go down the list. I don't want
So you just have different values. That's why I say it's like it's more about race than it's more about class and your environment than necessarily just being black. You believe in a man and a woman shit. You believe in God. And, well, I mean, liberals believe in God. Democrats, a lot of them believe in God, but
pay no crazy amount of taxes just for them to be throwing your money like they at a strip club. So I'm saying when I look at the policy position, not the emotional manipulation of empathy that I see from the Democrat side and from D.L. Hughley and others.
It's more than just emotion. It's not just emotion. But you can't think it's okay to just lack empathy completely. Then you're not you lose your humanity if you lack empathy completely.
I look
you can't
at policy
just act like it's just bad to have empathy.
Well, the policy of lowering taxes makes sense. Thomas Sowell, the great economists, have already articulated. Any economist will tell you when they lower.
And you only refer to one. It's always Thomas Sowell, y'all. It's always one. It's the one they agree with. Fuck the other dozens of economists that disagree with him. But he's the one.
Taxes and taxes seem to be reasonable to the American people. They pay more into the treasury. When you raise the taxes, people try to evade taxes. Therefore, there's lower money coming into the treasury of the United States of America. So I'm for people try to lower the taxes, and taxes seem to be reasonable. The great economists have already articulated. Any economist will tell you when they lower the taxes and taxes seem to be reasonable to the American people, they pay more into the treasury. When you raise the taxes, people try to evade taxes. Therefore, there's lower money coming into the treasury.
You don't. If you change the codes, they can't evade them. It's because it's because of certain tax codes where people can't evade them. That's what needs to change. It's not about making more. I'm sorry if that's not what he said. The way he worded it, basically, the more they make, the more they try to evade to pay less. But if it's less, people more willing to pay. If it's less, you don't have the access to be able to avoid anything. It's not willing, it's that you have to, and we don't have any avenue to get around it. But it's about changing tax codes. It's about changing the loopholes that they get. That's what the problem is.
Treasury of the United States of America. So I'm for lowering taxes. I'm for immigration policy. It don't make no sense whatsoever that people have to wait 10 years to come over here. And I think it's prejudice against some of the African nations because they don't get to just walk through the southern border. People waiting in line forever, paying all this money, fleeing actual persecution, and they don't have an opportunity because we have 20 million illegal aliens coming from.
I don't even think, and that too, I don't even believe that, but they say they don't have the opportunity. Because if they're doing it the right way, if people are going the right avenue to get into the country, that literally has no effect on people crossing it illegally. That doesn't even make sense because they're unaccounted for, supposedly. If they're getting here undocumented, what effect does that have to people, that's trying to get in here the right way? And on top of that, those people don't have to look over their shoulder at all times. They get in here and they chilling. They here legally on a visa or whatever the situation may be, on asylum or refugee, whatever the situation is. That has no bearing on people getting here illegally. And if they use the asylum system that we have that's broken, that's not on any fault of theirs. We the ones that got to fix our asylum system.
So the border right into our country. And D.L. Hughley didn't say a thing that I've seen about when Joe Biden was doing this and screwing black people over. Because where do they go, Stephen A? When these illegals come into America, they don't go to the foothills. They're not going to the affluent neighborhoods. They're not welcome at Martha's Vineyard. They are going and competing for low-skilled work in the inner cities.
They're not. They're not. Not in 2025, I should say. Not in 2020. Labor is not an issue. I think most of y'all can attest, even though it's all anecdotal, but all our anecdotes mean something. Everybody's hiring. It's damn near nowhere I could go without seeing we're hiring as a sign. Work is not scarce. Nobody's competing for work. The work illegal immigrants are doing is not work that citizens looking for.
And therefore, they're putting black people out of employment because black people are working for citizen wages, which means that you're an American citizen, you have to work for minimum wage. These people coming over here, you can pay them under the table.
I'm popular for saying this, Officer Tatum.
They're not getting jobs that you can't. No, you're not walking into McDonald's and getting paid $4 an hour and working at McDonald's. That's just not happening. It's not.
When white folks
even if it is, they still got hiring signs out, meaning they're looking for people to pay the minimum wage that they have set there. I don't even know if it's anywhere that's actually paying the national minimum wage, but regardless, these people are all these places they're hiring. Everybody's fucking hiring.
catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. It's always worse for us than it is for them. I bring up that statement because of what you just said. When you think about open borders and illegal immigrants crossing the borders, ultimately you're alluding to it having a detrimental effect on the black community. Is that your way of saying that you felt the left did that to us, that they just disregarded black folks?
Stephen A., they've been giving us the middle finger since I can remember. All the way back from the Ku Klux Klan. They have never supported black people whatsoever. They hoodwinked us into getting us on food stamps and getting us with government assistance, having us to abandon our own success. We had our own bus line. We had our own schools. We had all this stuff. They tricked us into believing that the white man was the cure to our own issues.
Okay.
They tricked us. And then now look at us, Stephen A. They don't have to bid for our vote. They got our vote hook, line, and sinker.
Well,
so they're never going to do nothing for us.
That part I get. But when you say they did nothing, I'm thinking about civil rights legislation. I'm thinking about infrastructure. I'm thinking about Jim Crow laws, the eradication of it. I'm thinking about the access to capital that was given that black folks had dating from the 60s and beyond that we didn't have before that. Are you saying that's the Republicans?
That's Republican, unanimous Republican votes for the civil rights. The Democrats filibustered the Civil Rights Act, the longest filibuster in history until Booker just did what he did. Mm-hmm. But the Democrats were not in support of that. That was the Republican Party that was in support of that. And then let's go down the list. If these things were benefiting black people, why are we still complaining today? We've been voting for Democrats for, 40, 50 years now, lockstep, and we still complaining. We still don't have the rights that we want.
I think because America is just so abundant that we find things to complain about, which is why y'all attacking trans people now. Y'all just have to find something to complain about. I do think that we're so prosperous in this country that shit can be fine, and everybody just has to find something to complain about. It's not just black people, white people too. They ain't stop complaining either.
We still don't have equality in America. Racism is still plaguing our community, according to black people. So what have they been doing this whole time? And when you look at it, they have just secured our vote, and they don't have to do nothing for us. And this is what we've created, Stephen A. Mm-hmm. We've created an environment where we don't benefit from none of it because the Democrats don't have to work because they know they already got us. The Republicans don't need to work because they can win without us.
I've been saying that.
Black women voted at 90-some% for Democrats. Stephen A., Donald Trump won in a landslide. You give it 2 more election cycles. Illegal aliens
1.4% is not a landslide.
and Hispanics are going to be the majority minority. Therefore, black people can vote 100% for Democrats, and they're not going to have any leverage in the political environment. And I'll tell you this: the Democrats, look at their platform. They want women to have abortions. They don't support a marriage. They don't support God and things the way the Republicans do. What does that do to the inner city black communities or black communities in general? We're not getting married. Baby daddy, baby mama drama out of control. We have an abortion more than anybody else. Obesity is out of control in the black community, which is one of the biggest plagues in the black community and the leading cause of death, which is hypertension and heart disease. What has the Democrats done about it? Nothing. The Republicans with RFK.
That's a fucking why does he keep saying the Democrats? First of all, wasn't these motherfuckers fighting against Michelle Obama when she was trying to get healthy food in school for kids? Y'all fought tooth and nail about it. Now you're listening to RFK sitting there talking about get measles because you're more immune. There's baby fetus residue in the vaccine. All this goofy, stupid shit that he doesn't understand and didn't study a day in his life, and y'all following behind RFK. Meanwhile, you're talking about Democrats ain't do nothing for black people with hypertension. White folks ain't did nothing either. These are personal choices people are making. And the only option is to take away all food that's completely unhealthy and only have us eating fruits and vegetables for the rest of our lives. Because otherwise, people going to make the choices that they make in this free capitalist market. Like, stop it. Those are personal decisions people are making. Don't make it about Democrats. Hell, people are overweight. How the fuck is that only Obama's fault?
Saying we need to make sure we have better foods. We need to make sure the SNAP program on prioritize.
They think Dems aren't religious because more liberal people aren't religious. I would argue that if you're liberal, not necessarily a Democrat, you're more likely to be not religious than like a conservative. But they think that all Democrats are the same type of liberal. But it's like a lot of people are Christians. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know where this idea that everybody that's like a Democrat isn't religious. I don't know.
Soda.
Or it's because they're willing to accept other people not being religious versus conservatives. They feel like you have to be religious.
To our young people, which a lot of black people are on the SNAP program, that's the difference in policy position. But D.L. Hughley, he'll never talk about that. He will never talk about the fact that we've given our trust to the Democrat Party and they fix nothing.
I'm going to invite him on here. I'm going to make sure that I play these clips for you. I've met him
Stephen A., I hope you do that, please.
over the years a couple of times. He's always been cool with me, even though he's been critical of me from time to time too. I'm a big boy, like I said, I can take it. It's no big deal. But I'm definitely going to drop this education you dropping on him. I'm going to make sure that he sees this. But I would ask you this, based on everything that you're saying, if you were in front of D.L. Hughley right now and you had an opportunity to talk to him about his position, about Trump, about the MAGA movement, about the GOP overall, particularly in comparison to what's going on with the left, other than what you just said, is there anything you would add?
Well, let me say this. I think that if D.L. Hughley was in front of me and we had a debate, it would be the most embarrassing time of his life. He gets no pushback from the black community, none whatsoever. He's in an echo chamber.
Wow.
It's very simple. I would ask D.L. Hughley, what policy positions are you saying that Donald Trump has failed in, that the Democrats has prospered in? And this is what he will say to me. He will give me a talking point from CNN that's been debunked 20 years ago.
This is very... He has a lot of confidence, and I don't agree with that whatsoever. I don't know why I don't even say that, like, as far as laymen, like people just on the street, I would say they would say talking points that Fox says. But when you're talking about personalities like D.L. Hughley or even Officer Tatum, I wouldn't say Officer Tatum would repeat Fox talking points. I would just say you're accepting lies from Donald Trump and you only cherry pick stuff that favors your argument. D.L. Hughley is not going to say CNN talking points. I think that D.L. Hughley is genuine about how he feels. Stephen A. isn't that good to have. Stephen A., I don't mind him being on the fence about a lot of things, but like you said, he's not the guy for these convos. You're right.
He doesn't have substance. What I would add to DL,
he doesn't
I would
have
say,
substance.
DL, do you really care about the black community?
I disagree with Ben Shapiro vehemently. I don't think he lacks substance. That I don't say. I would never say that. Now, I'm not saying D.L. Hughley is equivalent to a Ben Shapiro, but D.L. Hughley is not dumb. He's not repeating CNN talking points. I don't agree with that.
Or are you living in an environment where you're worshiping?
Yes, it's like, why do they think the people on the left just don't? I don't think everybody on the right, especially the political pundits, don't have their own thoughts. I don't assume you don't have this own thought. When you're openly on platforms speaking on it, I don't think that you're just repeating talking points from a Fox News network. I just vehemently disagree with you, and I think you're accepting lies and not looking further into them. I'm not saying you're making talking points that you don't believe in or you don't understand what you're saying. That's ridiculous, especially as people that's open and braggadocious as these two individuals are. That's why I'm like, that is insulting to say about DL.
Skin color. Because if you
Like I
care
said,
about the black
people that's
community
just on the
versus
street,
worshiping the
maybe.
skin color, why are you not out here advocating for things that will help the black community, like school choice, which is a Republican talking point? Democrats don't stand on school choice. And I think young black people, even like my son, should have the choice to go to the school that I think is best for him. I mean, we can.
That don't work. Like, they say shit like that without any way of approaching it pragmatically. This school choice shit sounds great, but it's all you're doing is further exacerbating an issue. A place that doesn't have the fucking taxes to make their school thrive is like, well, this school in my neighborhood sucks. Let's just move them elsewhere and pack this school. That doesn't make any sense. How would that work to just fill up the next school because it's better than the one in your neighborhood? All schools should be able to have the same opportunities, and you do that through taxes, and you do that through improving the communities. We need to invest in these communities to see the return of it. That's not like, even if you disagree with me, it's not an outlandish idea to invest in communities that are doing bad to help the state of them. While Trump want to throw tariffs on us and hope that it works out in 20 years, nobody wants to throw money into these communities to make their schooling better and make their housing better so they can have better lives, which in turn, you can see returns on that in like 5 to 8 years, I think. This is stupid. Yeah, and then you got, they add a lower standard, and then let my kid's been over here for 6 years, which is the vital years in their life, and then let me take them to a school that's 45 minutes away because it's a better school, and now they playing catch up to kids that had access to high-end daycares and shit. Like, man, I'm mad. I gotta get off, man. I gotta go get the damn kids,
I guarantee
bro.
you DL will be arguing with me that it's wrong that Donald Trump is deporting all these Mexican people. He didn't say nothing when Barack Obama did it, and Barack Obama was the deporter in chief. He deported more people
because
than
Obama deported people legally, you fucking dumb nutcase. I'm so sick of these niggas making these false equivalencies. Obama didn't pull people off the street and randomly deport people that wasn't supposed to be deported. It was no issue because he deported people that should have been deported. And then I just saw a clip today where people were still upset with him deporting people that should have been deported. They was like, stop deporting people, stop deporting people. Nobody's mad that you're simply deporting. It's the way you're going about it. But I'm really upset that I have to go fucking get the kids, so I can't stay on stream no longer. All right, y'all. So we back. I need to finish up this Officer Tatum video. You know, as you saw, I was streaming and I had something to do, so I had to stop. But we back because I wanted to finish it. I didn't think I was going to get into it that much. If y'all made it to this point, man, let me know how y'all feel about the camera angle. I'm trying to figure out this room and my setup and all that. I don't know if y'all still prefer the angle that I had before for every video I've done up to this point. Let me know how you feel in the comments if you prefer like this straight on angle or if you like the angle I've been had, and, you know, I'll go from there. But the background, regardless if the camera's like this or I go back to my angle that I had, I'm changing that too. So, yeah, let's just get back into the video, man.
Anybody in history.
That is correct.
So I think that every single point that D.L. Hughley has ever made that I have listened to him make is always incorrect. He probably thinks that Shador not going in the first round is racism.
Incorrect, or you just don't agree?
It's incorrect. The point that D.L. Hughley has ever made that I have listened to him make is always incorrect.
To say somebody's point of view is incorrect is crazy if it's like a perspective. I don't know if that makes it incorrect. I could say the same thing about you. We just disagree on a lot, but I don't know if I would use the word incorrect unless we're talking about some matter-of-fact thing.
He probably thinks that Shador not going in the first round is racism because he has this vitriolic behavior against white folks. You don't know that. I don't think that had nothing to do with race. He think the kid who stabbed the young man in Dallas in the chest is that they're railroading him and it's racism. Well, I was a police officer. I know what probable cause look like, and I read.
Stop! No, I don't do this. Don't do this. We don't have all the details, and even from the police report, it's possible he has a self-defense case. It's not black and white yet, so don't sit here and act like this is the same shit like with Stevie Knight. I don't know how Stevie Knight feels about this case in particular, but you don't just assume that a black person. It's like you're doing the opposite of what he's doing. Damn near. You damn near doing the opposite of what he's doing, if of what you claim he's doing. Just thinking of what's happening to the black boy is racism, when obviously the people that feel the way they feel towards him are being racist. Because I didn't see, they didn't give Daniel, I mean, was Daniel Penny the one that killed him? Yeah. They gave him the benefit of the doubt automatically. Oh, the man was threatening people. He saved their lives. Meanwhile, this boy was actually, according to the police report, actually physically touched, and then he gave him a warning to not do it, and then that's when he got stabbed. I'm not saying it was self-defense or it's not, but he got touched. Daniel Penny choked out that young man on the train without being touched or him touching other people. And I'm not saying, I don't even know how I feel about that case either. And we don't who was right and who was wrong. But he got off too. So y'all, you damn near doing the opposite.
The law in Texas, and it was a reasonable charging of that young man who killed another person. So he would never pick the side to support any young man who cause look like, and is that they're railroading him and it's racism.
Well, there is racism involved. It's not necessarily because of the police. It's because of the people like Matt Walsh and shit just saying that, like, oh, a black man stabbed a black boy because they're violent. That's racist. He just think black people are violent inherently.
I was a police officer. I know what probable cause look like, and I read the law in Texas, and it was a
You read the law in Texas, but that doesn't mean you know what happened between the two of them.
Reasonable charging of that young man who killed another person. So he would never pick the side to support anything white, even if the white person is right.
And you will always pick the side of the white person.
About any black person that has
white person is right.
Is that the way you feel about any black person that has an issue with what we're seeing from Trump, its administration,
Good question,
or the
Steven.
GOP? Or
Good
is that
question.
message especially for D.L. Hughley because you're familiar, or you say you're familiar with some of the things he said?
It's specifically for D.L. Hughley and D.L. Hughley likes, because there are people who are educated that just have a difference of opinion or they have criticisms.
Right.
I don't agree with everything Trump does. I've been on his head. His last term, I was all over his head and people wanted to unfollow me. I don't, these people ain't paying my paycheck. So I don't need to do anything for anybody. I'm just here to tell the truth and keep it real. And Donald Trump has done things that have been questionable, in my personal opinion, with the
Like
vaccines
what?
and all of the such.
Wait, what you mean with the vaccines? Oh my God. The thing that Trump did that was good, he said he finds it questionable. Give me a fucking break. Oh God, these people just don't want to engage with the reality. There is a conversation about mandating a vaccine, but you still got a choice. It's a hard one to make, and nobody's even saying it's fair, but it's hard. It's a hard choice, but it's still a choice. Excuse me. You didn't have to take it. Yes, a lot of jobs wasn't gonna fuck with you. I'm sorry. It's a difficult decision, but I think public health comes before your own personal hangups with what you think is going on, in my opinion. Like, unless a doctor recommends that you don't get it for some reason, then that's different than I don't want it because I refuse to accept the truth. Because you take more of a risk getting in your car every day. If you talk about risk versus reward, the small off chance that you fucking have a stroke from a vaccine is you're more likely to get struck by lightning. So you probably more likely to win the lottery. I don't know that for a fact. I know the lightning won for a fact, but the point is you're better off getting it than not. If you're going to go to everything you do every day, you're weighing the pros and the cons of it.
Tariffs as well. To tariffs, I agree with Trump. I believe in Trump, and in good faith, I think he's doing the right thing. But if a person came out and said, look, I'm concerned about tariffs. I own a company, Stephen A. We partner and do things overseas, and it's going to hit us. But I do believe that Trump is doing the right thing for a good reason, and I'm optimistic about the outcome. But if D.L. Hughley came on and said, I think the tariffs may be a bad idea, citing these reasons, I'd say, okay. But D.L. Hughley, you can say, he says, Donald Trump is removing black existence from society, which is the most asinine thing ever. And you would ask him, what are you referring to?
It's more like hyperbole than asinine. It's definitely he has a reason for feeling that way, because Trump is definitely doing a lot of fuck shit to black history.
He'll say books being removed. If you go to Florida and you look at the 120 plus variation of books that have been removed from the Florida school system, it was removed because of pornography. is because they're showing nudity and talking about sex with elementary students. But D.L. Hughley don't do any research.
I don't
He
know
didn't.
about
He
that.
won't
I
look
don't
up
know.
anything. He just know that he has to oppose Donald Trump at every end. And here's another thing, Stephen A. If you ask him if he come on your show, what's something that Donald Trump has done that have been positive? He will not have nothing to say because he can't say it because the people, I call them the people of the melanin, will eat him alive. If he decided to go to the White House and say, look, I'm going to set the record straight with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump say, DL, come to the White House, let's talk. DL won't go to the White House. Even if he could talk to Trump and even if he could confront Trump face to face, he won't do it.
I really question what the benefit of that is, especially if you're somebody like D.L. Hughley. Like, what is he going to say to Trump that would change Trump's mind that Trump ain't heard from anybody else already? Like, I don't see DL being the savior of changing Trump's mind. Like, because otherwise, that's why people are shitting on Bill Maher. It's like, all right, he's not as bad behind cameras than he is on camera, which honestly is probably worse in my opinion. But it's fruitless. What's the point? What's the point? Honestly, what's the point?
Because he know he ain't researching.
And again, normalizing Trump is a problem to a lot of people, especially people like DL. Like, Trump is not somebody that should be normalized whatsoever.
Nothing, and the black people will eat him alive. Stephen A., you've experienced it. You say one thing that sound conservative, and they eating you alive. And now you're a Republican, and now you simping for Trump. Saquon Barkley gets invited to the White House like every other person who wins the Super Bowl.
No, he was kicking it hard.
It's not the first time in history of Super Bowl champs have been to the White House.
Right.
No,
and I'll say this: when Biden was in office, who opted out? I don't know if any Republican opted out when Biden was in office. And I tell you what, people on the Kansas City Chiefs, there's a bunch of them that are Trump supporters.
I guess when they don't know they be telling on themselves, that just goes to show you that Trump is different. I'm sure like I said, if Ron DeSantis was president, this wouldn't be happening. Like, it just wouldn't. It just would not be happening. People, you can have your hangups about politicians, but this man is uniquely evil, and y'all just act like it's just not happening. You're just acting like it's not happening. People act like the hysteria over Trump is unwarranted when politics has always had the fighting and the divisiveness between people and you know, the back and forth of your guy's bad and our guy's good shit. But I don't think anybody truly ever felt like somebody could ruin the country willfully, you know, as president. You know, shit happened under Bush. You know what I'm saying? Shit happened under Carter. But they weren't willfully trying to ruin the country, even if you vehemently disagree with what they're doing. This motherfucker ignores any and everybody around him to do whatever he thinks is right. And then he's a fucking idiot who's never even been in politics. And y'all just like, we got somebody that's not the standard politician. Oh, yay. Like,
supporters.
Right.
That's because we don't have that vitriolic behavior against Joe Biden, even though he was way worse than anything Trump could have ever done.
oh my God, this is insane. Like, oh man.
Stephen A., and then I'll shut up. I want to see us unite.
No, you
I
don't.
want
No,
to
you
see
don't.
us
You can't
stop
do that behind
arguing
Trump.
and bickering over stupid stuff. Let's be informed. I would love to sit down with D.L. Hughley if he wanted to act in good faith. We need to have a better country. We need safety for everybody, not just black people. And because I have a blended family and a lot of people that work for me and that I know, investors, business partners, mentors, are of every color. We should be focused on saying, how do we all win together? Not running around.
You can't win with the president coming into the White House taking down pictures of black folks, like taking them out of their programs or trying to act like the Tuskegee Airmen didn't exist. Like, why do you think that's going to bring us together? Why do you think that it's okay? Why do you think it's okay to fight against DL that has a problem with shit like that? And you talking about come together. The president is the one that's actively trying to divide people. It's one thing to just have a difference of the way a bill should be, money should be spent within Congress and shit like that. But this motherfucker is like racially profiling people on the street and sending them to prisons. Like, what the fuck?
Around picking tribes and saying, I'm only for the black people and I'm only for these people. That's never going to work in society. It's never going to work. And I hope that black people wake up to this. We cannot isolate ourselves in a cocoon and think we're going to live in the inner city community and somehow show the white man. That's not America. That never will be America.
Let me say this to you before I let you go. There's a couple of things. Number one, I appreciate that message because I co-sign with you 1,000% on it. We do need to come together. And my definition of coming together is being able to have a conversation and not looking at one another with vitriol because we disagree. Let's butt heads and see whose ideas are better. In other words, knowing policy, knowing objectives and agendas, and coming to a conclusion as to whether what's right and what's wrong, and in our mindset, what would be the reason for that? I've heard Officer Tatum and your crew criticize me before, and I've gone like this. Well, damn, you know, they might have a good point there. I didn't see it that way. Well, let me look at that. And then there are other things that are like, no, I'm not budging. I think I'm right. And they're wrong. Which is why, by the way, I ain't just asked you to come on my show. I come on your show anytime you want me to, my brother. I ain't hiding. I'm here. But I think that the most important message that you're giving is that the Democratic Party has had the black vote for the most part since the 60s. And we've been so transparent in our support for the party that it's given them a license to take us for granted. And it's given the right a license to ignore us because they assumed they wouldn't get our vote anyway. Therefore, we're the ones without representation. And then we're wondering what the hell has happened. Now, Trump disoriented stuff a little bit because I think I never called him names and all that. My issue with him is how he behaves, because I think the presidency is a statesmanship position. And if you don't know how to act and you busy tweeting, going after Kathy Griffin and everybody else, something like that, as Cat Williams joked about one time, that's problematic for me, but that's it. And that's how I look at it.
I wish he addressed more of what Brandon said.
He'll get away with what you want him to get away with. Every president in office wants their policies, and you've got senators and congressional figures that are going to support you. They're going to sway you one way or another. Everything's open for negotiation, and that's the way that it should be. So I completely support where you're coming from in terms of keeping an open mind and listening, and I get where you're coming from. I'll give you the last word in this question. As a black man in the United States of America, with Trump in office right now, with everything that you've already said has been going on, due in large part to the left, where do you see us going from here? Because there's a lot of black people that don't see progress when they think about Trump.
It's a great question. I think that it's on an individual basis, because there are people who are never going to change. They're never going to like Trump. They go to these churches, and these pastors are telling them that the white man
Why
is the
you
devil
go to
and Trump
church,
is the
bro?
devil.
Oh my God, America is becoming less and less Christian. There's more and more people turning away from Christianity, and you talk about some people going to church. I know I may feel like I'm overblowing this, but it just felt like an escape to answer the question. A lot of these people never gonna go against Trump. You know, they go into the churches. Like, bro, just talk about people that's gonna go against Trump. It's nothing to do with church folk.
Elon is the devil. And some people are never going to change. But the ones who want to change,
it's like it seems like he only put people that don't want to change as the ones that's going to church. That's the vibe I got from that. That's why I'm like, why did you go to church, folks?
Those who are sick and tired of being sick and tired are going to open their eyes and say, I'm done with listening to news. I'm done with listening to pundits. Let me do my research, because I want what's best for America.
This is like a reality that they act like we really could ever attain, and we can't. If people have regular 9-to-5s and working as hard as y'all say, who's the most affected by this economy, they don't have time to do all the research to know everything that people like you know, or Stephen A. for that matter. Like, your job is to be a political pundit. You have time to do all this shit. You need to do all this shit. And the reason these people come to you is to get that, because they don't have time to do it all. And they hope that you're coming with honest and full information as far as what you can achieve. But people like you aren't even honest about the information that you have and then you give to your audience. So you're doing them a disservice as much as you're trying to pretend like you want the best for them, because you're not doing that. I just think this is just completely dishonest to act like everybody, I'm not going to listen to the news and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do my own research. Typically, you watch the news and you go do research from that point because we don't have access to all information all the time. We don't even know where to look for some shit. Some shit could be happening right now that they don't have any clue about, and until they watch the news, they'll hear it.
We all have to live in this country. It's not just a black country. It's not a white country. We all have to live here. And those people, Stephen A., like yourself, because we disagree on stuff too, but you a real man, and that's why I respect you enough to come on the show, because we can disagree, but we can still top it up.
That's right.
Some people can't do this, Stephen A. Right. Some people, they in their feelings. You say something about them, they want to fight you and all this.
Yeah.
And so the ones who are open-minded like yourself, because you wasn't always like this, Stephen A., you didn't always feel this way, but at some point, because you're a rational person, which is why you're incredibly successful, is that at some point you're like, I'm a critical thinker. Let me look into this. Let me not just believe one thing. Mm-hmm. And then there, boom, your eyes are open and the veil is off. Let me just say this too. I don't agree with everything Trump does. Me and you are on the same page with some stuff he do make me cringe. And I'm at home with my wife being like, if he don't stop doing it, what is he doing? Can somebody get him
like
and coach him?
I was just going to say, please give me an example. That's what I've been saying. Give me an example.
Decorum.
What got you feeling that way? Today. Give an example.
I was just
today. I was looking at him do an interview. Of course, he called a guy out at the Oval Office. He said he was fake news. But Donald Trump shared a post of the MS-13 gang member that had designs on his knuckles. Okay. Somebody didn't tell Trump that the MS-13.
Somebody didn't tell Trump. Bro, he's still giving him an excuse. No, this motherfucker's retarded. Bro, you didn't need to get somebody. First of all, I don't believe that nobody told him. I think he just thinks that everybody else is as stupid as he is and will believe it. No, it ain't. Nobody should have to told him that to see that shit wasn't even fucking real. Like, give me a break. You're giving him an out, but somebody didn't tell him. Are you acceptable? Are you accepting the fact that your president can't tell the difference between a typed up translation on that man's hands versus thinking it's really tattooed on his hands?
Letters at the top wasn't a part of the original photo. Someone interpreted the designs on the fingers and they put, this means M, this means S, this means 1, this means 3. Donald Trump is on the thing arguing that his knuckles say MS-13. That stuff makes him look bad. When Donald Trump came out against,
he shouldn't. That should be unacceptable. I'm sorry. Like, it's not that everybody's perfect or the president has to be infallible or make mistakes or misspeak or misunderstand something or misquote something. That's totally different than arguing to the death with a reporter about a freaking typed up image on a real something that was typed over a real image. This is crazy.
LeBron James, and I have so many criticisms of LeBron James that make me sick. Not basketball. LeBron James is
like
him
his politics
in basketball. Nobody can deny that.
Nobody.
It's when he go out and talk about politics. But Donald Trump saying negative things about LeBron James. When Donald Trump said negative things about Rihanna, to me,
I didn't know nothing about that.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Why would you engage in that? Let the pundits talk trash. You are above the fray. You the head coach. You the man at the top of the food chain. Let them argue down here and you play the game of the middle at the top. When I say middle, meaning places where you can unite. When you talk about Taylor Swift, yeah, I didn't like Taylor Swift doing a little shenanigans and pretty much encouraging people to vote Democrat, which it didn't work. But why talk about Taylor Swift? You are above the fray. You are the president of the United States of America. He do a lot of sneak dissing on people that are beneath him. And those things bother me about Donald Trump, in my personal opinion. Him arguing with the media every day. At some point, you have to say, I'm not talking.
Arguing? How about suing the media, motherfucker? Like, you don't care about him suing the media? You keep talking about these behaviors that he have, which are deplorable, but none of that shit is, like, unconstitutional or illegal. The president is doing unconstitutional and illegal things, but yay, you're mad about his decorum on social media. We don't like that shit either, but the real issue is the illegal shit he's doing, the unconstitutional shit he's doing.
But you're not going to catch me during COVID while we're talking about COVID-19, talking about you fake news. That hurt him in the election with my dad. Mm-hmm. My dad said, I like his policies. But the way he handled COVID in the press, he said, I can't deal with it. You know why my dad feel like that? Because my dad is a man of integrity. My father worked 40
and you
years.
Not. It sounds like you not, because I don't think y'all was on the same page with that.
As a firefighter, retired twice as a chief.
Unless
My
he's
dad is a
saying
man of integrity. He raised us
it's 'cause
right.
they
My
don't
dad
like
is conservative. He's
they
no
even made the
nonsense.
vaccine.
He has decorum. He treats people with respect and kindness.
Which
He's a
still
man of
wasn't
God.
mandated
That
federally.
stuff that Trump does turns him off.
Right.
Now, I'm trying to get him to look at the policy and not the person,
Yeah.
but
He just bigged up his dad for having integrity, a man of his word, and blah, blah, blah. And he got turned off because Trump is a deplorable person. He said, I'm trying to get him to ignore all that shit. Just look at the policy. Nigga, thanks for the self-report.
if I could give Trump any critique, I'd say scale back on that stuff. Just focus on the policies. Be a uniter. Let the pundits talk the trash. Let Caroline Levitt talk trash and bash the media. You come out and lift people up. You come out and be an encouraging factor to the American people. Don't get in the mud. And he would be beloved amongst everybody.
Officer Tatum, man, I got to get on out of here, but I got to tell you, the mentality of looking at the policy, not the person, is something that I've grown to adopt and embrace even more so than ever before. And I think this last election sort of solidified that, but also listening to people like yourself and others. Again, we don't agree on everything, but I got mad respect for you, my brother, and I know you're doing big things.
So,
You got
I
over
mean, you don't
3.4
care about
million
the person?
subscribers on
Okay.
YouTube. People listening to you every day. You making an impact. You sensible. You open-minded. You fair-minded. And I got a lot of respect for you, man. So I'm really, really happy that you took time out of your schedule to come on the show. I appreciate it. You know you always got room here to holler at me. So ain't no problem at all, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, Stephen A. Likewise, man. I got mad respect for you, man, and I'll have you on my show at some point.
No doubt. You take it easy, my man. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, man. I guess Stephen A. Every time he interviews people within politics, he don't give enough pushback for me, and this shit's kind of annoying. He's entertaining though. He did ask some decent questions here and there, but for me, he don't give enough pushback, and I don't know if it's because he's like so center left that he don't want to go too hard, or he really truly agrees with some of the shit that they say. But he let Officer Tatum get away with a lot of bullshit. Tatum is just, he didn't even really engage with DL's point. He just wanted to call him racist the whole time versus acknowledging the issue at hand, which I blame DL partially for that too, because when you center your argument on race, when there's other things that can carry it that has way more weight to it, it gives the people that want to be your detractors and out to talk about race, which is the lowest hanging fruit in the conversation. In most cases, when you cannot actually prove that race is the motivation behind certain actions. But regardless, man, I think that was a decent video to react to. Yeah. So we'll probably watch more Stephen A. if he has more entertaining people to talk to. I'm not a fan of Tatum, but I know that could have been a decent conversation, which I do think it was. But if you made it to this point in the video, man, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.